Carries three. He's good.
Johnny Walker matching up against control. His shot. Bruce score. They score. They tie the game up 2-2.
Some drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Taya Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse. Wow. 5 seconds to go. Find Hawk. Hawk spins. It rolls off. And Arizona State wins it. Edward pulls off. And buries the puck.
Daniels takes the shot for Kirby.
What up, all? Happy Friday. Welcome back into Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, a little sabbatical yesterday. Being out on Radio Row and the Super Bowl. And yes, some scheduling things, but a very, very awesome time. But so glad you could join me back here on Pitchfork Lunch. I am Michael Carritenuto at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, not Prince, but yes, hey, we can go with that too because Prince absolutely rocked. And you can check me out live here on the IG as well, michael.carritenuto.5. Big ups there. So, it was awesome. Again, being around the Niners, got to catch up with Brandon Aiyuk. Very, very cool. And you will hear that, obviously, the big game on Sunday and another Sun Devil playing in it, trying to earn some Super Bowl bling, which, again, doesn't suck. So we will definitely get to that. Also, get to that. Men's hoops last night, a little bit of a tough one. Started out tough, and then, well, it started out tough. Then it became a game, and then guess what? It was tough down the stretch. So that is the bummer part of it. But nonetheless, we will talk a little men's hoops, but we are going to hear from Brandon Aiyuk. Got a chance. Again, it was try to get a one-on-one. The Niners were very helpful, but he had his booth. So it was kind of going to be like, if it was a one-on-one, it was going to be like 2 questions, or get to ask him questions in his at his booth at the hotel, which is a really cool, the way they have it set up, where the teams are staying. No, they're not staying on the Strip. I did forget to mention that the other day when I did the show from Radio Row. I did forget to mention that that they are not, the teams aren't staying on the Strip, but their hotels are literally like a mile away from each other. But yeah, so it's one of those things where it is kind of cool. I mean, it's a little bit of a jaunt, but again, doesn't matter. And with how spread out, obviously, the Eagles and the Chiefs were last year, just here in Phoenix, again, just different setup. But yeah, they're hotels. And funny story, when we went to go to media, the hotel that they said that was listed for the 49ers, total looking right at the paper, you know me, it wasn't a technology thing. It was a paper and it had the address and it said 49ers. And you look at the banner and get the Chiefs. But yeah, we found out the good news was that the Niners were right around the corner. So that part in and of itself did not suck. So, but it was cool. It was very cool. Again, got to catch up with Christian McCaffrey too. A little bit. Heard from Kyle Shanahan, Brock Purdy, Arizona kid. That was very awesome. But yeah, I mean, it's just interesting matchups. And I've talked a little bit about it on the show here, but not a ton. But it is very interesting matchups. And yeah, I mean, look, the Chiefs defense, the way they've been playing, but I'm sorry, you obviously cannot double team everybody unless you're going to rush one lineman and play with, or two linemen and play with 9 in the secondary, which that would be very interesting. And not that I'm sure people haven't thought about, but pretty much can't do that. But I mean, the matchups in and of itself, when you think about it, are, yes, quite interesting, just due to the fact that the way the defense has been playing, the Chiefs defense have been playing, you look at the 49ers offense, you're like, okay, but it's just about solving one thing and maybe trying to take away one thing. But even if you do say somehow take away McCaffrey, you're going to be focusing a lot on that. That's a lot of firepower. Debo, Aiyuk, Kittle, even Jennings. I mean, this guy's a fourth receiver, but a fourth maybe option that people would say, but whoo. A fourth option at that, but man, I'm just very stoked. Obviously, again, for again, and he's from Nevada too, and I know I definitely forgot to mention that maybe I did mention it. I mean, inevitably he is from Nevada, is Brandon Aiyuk, so that is even better for the young man. That's even better for him. So yeah, I mean, look, I am very stoked. For again, Aiyuk, the game. Pac-12 wise, there's quite a few more guys. I mean, Eric Armstead went to Oregon. Obviously, McCaffrey went to Stanford. So yes, before the Pac-12 disseminates as we know it, yes, caught up with Ashley Adamson on Radio Row, and yes, when she's like, "How you doing?" I'm like, "Good." I'm like, I keep saying good, but I go, you could appreciate this because yes, the wound is open, the salt there, no more Pac-12. Like it just sucks. And it's not like, not even, a 11th hour, the 23rd hour and 59th minute. I mean, schedules are already set for next year. Obviously, we saw ASU's, football's in the Big 12. It's not like it's going to happen. So it's going to be very, very interesting. To say the least. So but I said that to her. I go, yeah. And she goes, I know. It's just one of those things. And yeah, you try not to dwell and not to, you're focusing on the seasons, but each day. And now that we, are in February, obviously, in the final, stretch to basketball season, we go into March Madness, spring sports starting. I mean, softball, obviously baseball and softball are getting going here. And it's one of those things where it's just such a bummer because that is the end of the conference as we know it. And I really just, again, I don't, it's, again, there's so much great games and action. And I mean, hell, even though it was that team down south, they had a triple overtime game last night against Utah, and they ended up winning Utah's first home loss. And I mean, it's just stuff like that in the pack that you're going to miss. Like, obviously and like Willie Bloomquist said when I talked to him earlier, in baseball, I mean, those ASU, not just obviously the Arizona rivalry, but, UCLA and USC coming to town and, Oregon State. It's just, oh man, it's such, but anyway, we're going to focus on the here and now. So, but yeah, I ran into a lot of awesome people. Saw our guy, Charles, saw him here last year. He sat down with me and back at it again. Great seeing him on Radio Row. And again, the first person I saw was actually Dan Marino. That does not suck. And no, I did not go up to him and say laces out, Dan. I know I always kid around with people and say, I would definitely ask him like the importance, not, about the line, but just, hey, and this one I really want to get to, obviously important, how tough it is to play quarterback, but the whole laces out theory, Dan, that would be pretty funny. But nonetheless, that was that. But yeah, ASU hoops, like I said, the men fall last night in Colorado, get down 19-1. Then they outscore Colorado 32-20. So it was 39-33, and you're feeling okay, that's a tough start. You're able to claw your way back. Sean Phillips Jr. did start again. Love what I saw from him. We'll get into it, but yeah, I mean, so there's that. But now they fall to 11-12 overall, and 5-7 in the pack. So it's definitely going to be a challenge, kids. That's all I can tell you. And you obviously know it because you're astute, you're Sun Devils, and that's just how it is. But hey, Pitchfork Lunch Mojo, inevitably, let's see what you can do down the stretch. Obviously, another game against Utah. Jose Perez did come off the bench. Again, I don't think it's punishment. I just think it's starting Sean Phillips Jr. With those other guys, and I like the way he looked. I mean, getting to watch the game and going back and watching the first half again. Again, the first half. I just wanted to watch the second half of the first half again, but I did watch it all. And I mean, they were down 9-0, and then it was, and then you just fast forward. Like I said, it was 19-1, and then ASU outscored Colorado, and that is a heck of a run. I mean, you look at it, 32-20. So it's 39-33. They're not out of it going into half. You build momentum. Colorado got up, had runs in the first half, but early in the second half, but ASU answered and kept it close. It was just down the stretch. That was the tough part. So we'll get into it in a little bit, but hey, I'm going to step aside. And then when we get back, we are going to hear from the man himself, And that would be the man playing in the Super Bowl, Mr. Brandon Aiyuk. So very, very, again, so stoked. Sun Devil, talked to him about a few things. And again, just that same, just kind of even keel guy. So we'll hear what Brandon Aiyuk have to say. We're going to step aside real quick, but Brandon Aiyuk on the other side here on Friday's edition of Pitchfork Lunch. All right, we are back here on Pitchfork Lunch, and yes, as promised, the man who had a hell of a 2 years here at ASU, Brandon Aiyuk, and just again, it was always great talking to him when he was here. A little bit soft spoken, but nonetheless. And draft night, look, we all brag, and in this world and covering ASU, and yes, want to see guys get drafted and do well. But I said on draft night on the Sports Arena, it's bookmarked. It is there that Brandon Aiyuk would be perfect with what Kyle Shanahan wants to do with, and this is before obviously they had McCaffrey, but with Debo there, with Kittle already there, I'm like, this is perfect for Kyle Shanahan. And guess what? They traded down initially in the first round, but where they went down and then they got Aiyuk there in the first round, absolute stud. And yes, for obviously for my favorite pro team not working out well, because I would have loved to see him with a star in his helmet. But that being said, I was right. And with the 49ers, and again, not that he couldn't fit in as other teams. I'm just saying, looking at what the Niners do, how he caused offense, multiple running backs, multiple receivers in the tight end. Kyle Shanahan is the X and O guru, as we all say. But anyway, nonetheless, Aiyuk is there. So without further ado, here is Brandon Aiyuk ahead of the Super Bowl. And again, got to get out to the Niners hotel and catch up with them.
Thank you. I mean, it's gonna be huge. If they don't key me, it's gonna be huge.
Brandon, a number of your teammates have talked about how your coach has helped them see the game in a different way, learn it in a different way, especially with him being a former receiver. What has he done to make you maybe, his first pro or look at the game a different way?
And who was that you said?
A number of your teammates have said this about Kyle Shanahan, saying him being a former receiver. How has he added to how you see the game, how you learn the game, and especially prepare for moments like this?
Oh, so much. I think so much from day one. It was just pretty much him, trying to instill little details here, thoughts here on route running. He was a receiver himself. He doesn't coach receivers, but he does. Anybody will tell you he coaches receivers as tough as anybody on the team. But stuff that every single day, the main stuff that I take into my route running and to run the routes and playing the game at the receiver position, the stuff that I remember him saying from whether it was day one, day two, just every single day he's giving us little gems here and there to just become better football players.
And Kyle Juszczyk has shared a locker next to you for the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Describe that dynamic between you two, just maybe the things that go on behind the scenes that we don't get to see, the gems that he gives you.
Oh, yeah, that's my dog right there. That's my brother. That's my brother. Like today we're like last Wednesday practice of the year, but we're gonna be brothers forever. So that's my dog.
Brandon, how important is it on a week like this to obviously take care of the seriousness of the game, but remember that it is a game and that you want to have fun playing?
Okay, so what's up, Tracy? I missed the first part of that. What's up?
I said on a week like this especially, how important is it to have that fine line of course, knowing the seriousness of the game, but also knowing that it is a game and you want to have fun playing with it?
Yeah, I think just like throughout the week, like we always have fun. Like you see us out there in practice every single week and how we act every single week and every single day, really. So just trying to keep it the same. Just keep it the same. Just be who we are. Have fun. Of course, have fun.
Brandon, coming from the Valley, what do you want to tell those fans who are watching you, all eyes on you and your journey here?
Just stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. You got to elaborate on that one. Right?
We got more. We got a lot more. And of course, we got the Super Bowl coming up this Sunday, so that's a huge part of this journey.
What's your de-stressor? We've got a lot going on right now.
My family. My family, they just flew in last night.
What has this meant to you for this to be in your home state?
Everything. That's probably been my number one question since I got here. It means a lot. To be back here in Nevada, it's a bunch of fun. It just feels like a journey's coming full circle.
Were you ever recruited by UNLV?
I don't think so. I don't want to throw them out there like that.
Yeah.
But I don't think so. Maybe in college in junior college a little bit.
What about the catch against the Lions? How much have you been asked about that? How much have you kind of soaked that in deflection catch?
I soaked it in a bunch. It was a lot of fun. still enjoy it today. Probably enjoy it for the rest of my life because it was a moment that led up to this one right here. So exciting for sure.
Brandon, how great is it to be good to see you again, but representing the amount of Sun Devils that have played in this game and won it? How big is that for you?
How many have played in it and how many have won?
Last I checked, I think it was the 20 some odd one and or 20
good odds.
21 and played, and then yeah, some are multiple. Like Darren Woods is a multiple Super Bowl winner, Sun Devil.
I like that. I haven't even too much thought about that, but I like that. Appreciate that.
I think obviously coming out of ASU, but coming to San Francisco, like I said, got to learn the NFL game. It's different. You have the talent to get there. But from your time there, how did it help you? Obviously, first year and then moving forward to where you are now.
Tremendously. Credit to the staff that we had there at the time when I was there. Just putting moments like this in my head, like Herm and AP talking about moments like this, playing the Super Bowls. Kind of just jokingly saying it. Like you're here at Arizona State in college, but you want to get to the playoffs, you want to get to all pros, you want to get to Pro Bowls, you want to get to Super Bowls. But as a college kid, you don't too much. You don't take it all in until you get to a moment like this, and we're grateful for it.
And then lastly, on a not so serious thing, I know you're a motivated player, but how motivating is it when somebody puts out the colleges of the 49ers players and puts up all the mascots except for the Sun Devil? How does that make you feel?
They left Sparky out?
They left Spark, yeah, believe me, all your teammates, and you're the first one alphabetically with your school, Arizona State, says it. And this I won't even give them too much credence, but they left Sparky out. They didn't put your school in on 49ers colleges that are represented.
I didn't see that. That's crazy. I gotta get Sparky in.
Hey, Brandon, if you had the chance to have a one-on-one conversation with anyone in the world, past or present, who would that be?
First person come to my brain is LeBron James, but I would have to. If that was a serious question, I would have to probably think about it a little bit more. But first one to come to mind.
If you had the chance to win any other sporting trophy but the Super Bowl, what sporting trophy would that be? From what sport?
I mean, NBA the finals trophy.
Brandon, I was talking to some of the Chiefs defenders about the differences in the offense between the last time you guys played them last year and now this year. Christian are pretty obviously big differences. They also mentioned you've emerged as a number one receiver now, and that's changed the offense. Did you feel like you've gotten that respect around the league based on coverages that you face by the defense and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, for sure. You turn the tape on and you see the respect around the league. So greatly appreciated. That's what it's all about. So yeah.
And so when you at this game coming in, what do you think are the keys to facing that kind of steep spectrum on the defense and the aggressiveness that they like to play with?
Yeah, they're aggressive, but we play that same aggressive style. It's always playing in this offense. I got the question earlier, talking to all the people. It's really hard. Like you just never know. You never know. Like if you're a defensive coordinator, pick your poison. So we're just having fun. We're just enjoying it. We're excited for the matchup. It's gonna be great. Those guys, they got us, paying attention in the film room, and we're just excited for the opportunity.
Brandon, if you win the Super Bowl, it's kind of a family friend accomplishment. Who are you most excited for outside of yourself if you win the big game? Like, who are you excited to hug on the field on Sunday?
All these guys that we've been going to work with for 25 plus weeks, 4+ years. So just to hug my brothers and share that moment, it would be awesome.
There was a clip of your mom, though. She was pretty excited. I saw some on social media. How important has she been in your life?
Huge. You know that.
And Brandon, since landing here, being here in Vegas, what has been the most memorable moment for you leading up to where you are right now in this moment?
Since getting here? Probably the other night, some of the receivers, we went out to dinner and we drove past the stadium and we just saw the SF versus KC on the stadium. And that was probably the realest moment, most exciting moment where we got excited.
What were the emotions that went through you to see that thing? On Sunday, I will be inside.
Yeah, it was just a bunch of emotions. Just in the car on what was it, yesterday, 2 nights ago? Just feeling all the emotions in the car. And if that's what it felt like, I can't wait for Sunday.
Are you able to grasp all of this to really enjoy it, or has it just been overwhelming?
Yeah. Kind of a little bit of both. Today we got on the field and it was just little moments where you just say, you soak it in. And sometimes you have to really tell yourself, like, we're at the Super Bowl at practice right now. And it kind of takes that to soak it in. But,
And Brandon, you mentioned obviously the offensive weapons you guys have. Everybody well knows, and there's one ball. Quarterback's got to keep everybody happy. But how do you feel Brock's grown? I mean, from last year to this year, and just kind of staying within the offense, but getting all you playmakers the ball.
yes, it's credit to him, credit to everybody above him as well. Give us all in position, put him in position to put us all in position. And sometimes, it's tough. It's tough. We all hungry. We all got dogs that eat. And a dog. I got 2 dogs myself. They'll eat all day. They don't get food. So, but yeah, he's doing a great job.
Brandon, at what point did you first dream about playing in the Super Bowl? Like, can you remember a point like 7, 8, younger than that, about catching passes and now being here?
Yeah, just like Santana Holmes, kids like that, playing in the backyard, stuff like that. Think about it, dreaming about it for a long time, and it's finally here, and it's super fun.
Brandon, my friend plays receiver professionally, and he's got a question right there.
Yeah, I'm your friends, I play receiver in France. What's like your best tip or advice for me to improve my game?
So every time you come off the ball, run as fast as you can. Every time. Every time.
Thanks a lot.
Brandon, what did you think you respect the most about Chiefs quarterback, Jarvis Neal and Trent McDuffie?
What I respect about them the most? The tape that they put out there this whole entire season. They did a great job. And yeah, we're excited. We're here in the interview, we're bringing those guys up. So those guys we gotta get after.
You ready to put big numbers on Sunday?
Ready to do whatever it takes.
Brandon, at the beginning of the season, you had said, I'm about to take off. Just how do you feel like you've grown as a player each season to help your team get to this point?
I think I've grown in different ways. I feel like each year I've kind of changed my game and done something a little bit different to get different results. But mainly just coming into work every single day, trusting the coaching, trusting the scheme, trusting everybody around me. I'll be in the right positions if I just lead and follow. And we look here now at the Super Bowl, looking back on 4 years past of achievements, ups and downs, growth, a bunch of growth, and just credit to coming to work every single day and trusting these people.
All right, we're going to take a quick break because, again, there's a lot more with Brandon Aiyuk. Again, didn't want it to all go straight, but you heard him right there. And again, we'll take a quick break. We'll hear the rest, break it on down because, again, this young man, again, still the competitor, the drive, and how he grew. I mean, even from his first year to second year at ASU. And obviously, his first year, he did get to see, he was playing with N'Keal Harry and saw how he worked. And obviously, N'Keal got drafted. But the next year, I mean, Aiyuk and he just the way he grew is just, again, absolutely awesome. You hear it there. And but we got more. Again, always some fun Super Bowl week media questions. But I did have to get that in there about Sparky. So we will step aside real quick, and then we'll finish up with Brandon Aiyuk on the other side here on Pitchfork Lunch. Welcome back into Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Caracino at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Heard from Brandon Aiyuk there. We're going to hear a little more going forward. So again, just a little break in there to break it a little, halfway through to split it up. But again, here is the former awesome Sun Devil and representing ASU and obviously his 49ers in the Super Bowl. Yes, John Lee, this is very tough for me to say. Anyway, we go from there. But yes, here is Brandon Aiyuk.
John, from your teammates, like these last couple of seasons, I feel like it really helped you develop as a player.
That's a tough question because I think you take something from a lot of people. I think another thing about a great team is the guys that you have. We have great guys, so you're always able to take something from somebody in any type of way to kind of improve yourself. So I'll say just I can't pin it down to a couple people, but just a lot of different people throughout the journey.
You grew up a Niners fan, and now you're on the Niners. You grew up a fan, and now you're officially with the Niners. Like, does that mean something more to you since you grew up a Niners fan and now you became with the Niners?
My mom was the one that grew up a Niners fan, and she put me in all the Niners stuff. I kind of, I grew my own way a little bit, but I was still a fan of the team. But being here in the Super Bowl for my mother's favorite, home team, it's exciting. It's my team now, so I'm super excited just by who I grew with rooting for. But yeah, it's exciting. It's fun. It's lit.
I talked with Coach Newton a couple days ago. He told me about a story that you got mad at him because he took you off special teams. Do you remember that at all? And maybe one of your time at Sierra College with him at all?
Shout out my dog, Coach Newton. That's one of his favorite stories. He tells that story all the time, but I don't remember the details of it. But I remember that we were seeing eye to eye on special teams.
You had 5 touchdowns though the day that he put you back on special teams. Do you remember that at all, or is that just another game?
I remember that part, yeah.
Of course.
Brandon, you're going up against 2 really good DBs in the Jerry Seed and Trent McDuffie. What do you look at going into this game, and how do you attack that secondary?
I look at the tape. Look at the tape and just see and try to find out ways that we can beat them. What you want me to tell you?
Anything you can share?
No, I ain't got nothing.
I love it.
Brandon, who are you? Anyone special you're playing for on Sunday?
All the members with the same last name as mine. These guys here with the same name on the front of their jerseys. And there's a lot more. There's a lot. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly, but just all my little ones, they know who they are.
Who's been your biggest influence into this part of your career?
Probably my bigger cousin, my cousin Conrad, and my parents.
Okay. Why?
Because as a kid, I just wanted to be exactly like him, just follow him. And then I kind of mix that with myself a little bit, and my parents as well.
Thank you.
Why are you guys so good in the red zone?
Why are we so good in the red zone?
Yeah.
What are we in the red zone? What's the numbers in the red zone? Number 1 in the NFL.
You do that. You gotta ask me that.
I think we got options. We got options. I want to say because they target me in the red zone, but I think I haven't been targeted that much in the red zone this year. But just we got options. Whoever we want to give it to. You can run the ball, right? We can run the ball. We can capture it. You can get it to Debo in any way possible down there in the red zone. It's gonna take a couple guys to get him down anytime soon. So you got Kittle, who can do it any single way. You got Jawan, who can do it any single way. We got guys who can get the football to down the red zone. I'm not sure. I don't know exactly why. I don't know why. Other than we got those guys.
Well, he's got the most touchdowns in the red zone in national football.
McCaffrey does?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there you go right there. There you go. There you go.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. How you doing? Yes, sir.
For you personally, which is your first
did you start to believe that somebody drafted last could lead you guys to the Super Bowl and have the season as happened? And what were the qualities? When did you start believing in Brock Purdy that he could lead you to the Super Bowl? And what were the qualities in him that you guys got rallied behind?
I think on the way to the playoffs last year was a couple games in. I think it only took for guys to say something different about this guy. This guy has something that could definitely take us to where we want to be. So I would say last year, early on, when he came on early on, and then I would say those intangibles just being just a calm, coolness to him that everybody kind of just leaves behind and kind of follows naturally as well, because you can just feel it coming off him. The way speaking the quarterback position, the way he's able to give guys the ball on time, in stride, and let us do what we do with accuracy and pace and timing. And then just the type of guy that he is. Just a cool guy, fun guy to hang around with. Same person every single game. Yeah.
What do you think about this matchup? The D-backs from the Chiefs against the wide receivers of the Niners, Drew and Debo. What do you think about that?
It's a great matchup. It's a heavyweight matchup, Super Bowl matchup. We've been getting questions about those guys all week. I'm hoping y'all asking them about us. But yeah, it's a big matchup. It's the Super Bowl. They're the last left. We're the last left in terms of the DBs on that side and the receivers on this side. And we'll just wait until Sunday to see who comes out on top.
Who do you think is the best wide receiver in the history of the NFL?
In the history of the NFL? Like just my favorite receiver in the history of the NFL, or mine? That's tough. I got a couple. I need a couple. Can I do something? I like T.O., Odell, Antonio Brown, Julio.
Choose one.
I gotta choose one.
Debo said Julio.
Brandon Aiyuk.
Brandon, what's your relationship like with Kyle, and how's it different from relationships you've had with
What's up, bro?
What's up? How you doing?
One more time.
What's your relationship like with Kyle, and how is it different from relationships you've had with other head coaches?
Very different. But that's my dog. That's my dog. We got a different relationship, and I enjoy it.
Closer?
Yeah, you can say that.
What's your first memory in a Super Bowl in your childhood?
Antonio Holmes, toe tap.
What's your favorite play in the history of the NFL?
Favorite play? History of the NFL. I think it's he was a tight end for, I think this might have been versus the Rangers actually. He's a tight end for the Bengals, and he did like the front flip into the end zone. Simpson, yeah. Was that versus the Niners?
Yes. No, he played for the Niners for a minute, but it wasn't against the Niners.
Okay, yeah, so that play. Yeah.
Brandon, there's a lot of people obviously watching this game all around the world at the moment, and there's going to be a lot of people with a bit of impact. Looking at someone like yourself, they're going to look up to you. Whilst you were over your youth, was there a player that you looked up to and thought, I want to be like him?
Yeah, I did. I liked LT. I liked Odell. Those two guys when I was younger probably first come to my mind.
And then obviously you see a lot of the initiatives that these players are obviously putting in, whether it's charity work or trying to help people to grow through some tough times at the moment. Is there something that you want to have a big impact on in your life?
For sure, yeah, my life for sure. Right now, I'm trying to figure out how to do so. I'm working with Boys and Girls Club, trying to figure out how to have an impact like that maybe one day.
So this year you have one of the most producer receivers seasons in terms of return for pass receive. How do you work this chemistry with Brock to be able to produce such in the field?
I think just every day, trying to get better, going out there and working together, talking together, trusting our system, trusting that we're both going to be in the right spots for each other. and we get to look up and play the Super Bowl here on Sunday. So just continue to do it that way.
Brandon, being a JUCO product and going to ASU, having to work up the ranks, how has that helped your resilience and motivate you and drive you to be a star in the NFL?
I think I'm not sure because that was just my path that I took, and I felt like that was normal. You know, to me, it is different than it's not the normal path, different to others, different from others as well. But you know, just staying on track, just keep my head down, working, and believing that it can happen.
And we're obviously working in the preseason, but I got to ask you. Obviously, now the demise, no more Pac-12 after this year. What's kind of your thought of that?
I was sad about that. I was rooting for UW to at least win, hopefully, so that the Pac-12 could go out on a win. But no Pac-12 is a little bit sad.
One seemed to get a little emotional talking about the bond that you, he, and Debo share. Can you just talk a little bit about that bond, what this game means to you?
Yeah, that's my dog for life. Us three, we've been working together now for the last 4 years, so as you can imagine, it's every single day, ups and downs, just being with each other, hanging out with each other, enjoying time together. I always say, but we all came this journey. Y'all got babies on this journey as well. So seeing each other become fathers, it's an unexplainable bond. It's definitely a bond that we'll share and cherish forever.
And Christian said earlier in the before your obviously amazing catch against Detroit, but one of his favorite plays all year, maybe top one when he was asked the time, was when you literally were flying downfield. He's a little bit ahead of you, and you got the last block that sprung him. Obviously, blocking is part of a receiver's game, but how do you feel that in your 4 years you've grown as a blocker, and how big was it to make that play for Christian?
Oh yeah, I've grown a bunch as a blocker. It's part of my game that I take pride in now. And I enjoy a lot. Plays like that you mentioned, being able to spring guys free in the blocking game, it's fun. It's just fun. It's making a play, almost. But yeah, it's another way to get involved and to get the energy involved.
Brandon, you're so much on the other side of the ball with Mahomes and Kelsey, but talk about the challenge of facing a Chiefs defense that are top two in some categories.
Yeah, I don't think people realize the type of defense they are. They're aggressive defense. They play hard. It's a big challenge. We've been looking at the numbers, and I think they're two in the category. The reverse category that we're number one in. So we'll see how it goes.
And there he is, the man playing in the Super Bowl in 51 hours, basically. But who's counting, right? Brandon Aiyuk again. Always loved talking to him when he was here at ASU. And you see him, obviously, he's in the opening and closing of the show. So, but yeah, no, just, and you hear about that, like, the blocking part, can around with McCaffrey and, seeing how he handled that or just became, becoming a better blocker. But yeah, not happy. And I talked to him real quick as he's getting down from the podium about, the Pac-12, and I saw him on the way out, and he's like, man, he goes, that is tough. And I say, yep. I go, it comes down to, I go, money is a ruler. And he just we kind of chuckled, but I mean, yeah, it is a bummer, but his time at ASU, again, always great to catch up with. So very stoked, obviously, for him to be there. And yes, there is even a representative from the school down south, but the Pac-12 very well represented by the Niners. Like I said, Oregon, ASU, obviously, Oregon, Stanford, Arizona. I want to say Oregon State. Is it Oregon State? Don't worry. I can tell you. Let's see. We have Stanford, yes. USC, yes. Well, ASU, yes. Stanford, yes. USC, yes. Oregon, yes. Arizona, yes. UCLA, yes. Yeah, so that's half the Pac-12 schools are being represented in, well, the Super Bowl, but last year the Pac-12, and that's just on the Niners alone. Although, like I said, somebody put out a college football broadcaster put it out, and there's no Sun Devil. So yeah, that's really oh, Utah. I'm sorry, my apologies. Utes. So that's 7 schools: ASU, the team down south, Stanford, SC, Utah, UCLA, Oregon, and Colorado. 8 of the 12 represented. Hell yes. So 8 of the 12 represented, and yeah, very, very stoked about that in the Super Bowl. But nonetheless, but yeah, you heard from Aiyuk there. I mean, look, his speed, yes, and I loved his advice when one of the members from international media said his friend played receiver, and he goes, every snap, get off the ball as fast as you can. And you always hear people say, oh, receivers sometimes, they're not getting the ball, they're kind of, half, slacking off the ball, half-assing off the ball, whatever you want to say, right? And I love that advice because, again, just seeing it, make the DB, make that safety, make that linebacker constantly peek out at you. Make sure that, because again, if you're only, and then receivers have said this, and coaches as well too, if you're only exploding off the ball when you're going to get the ball, and yeah, sometimes your releases, now with how, the flow of a play might go, yes, you release. I'm not saying like you're walking off line, but like 50%, maybe 75%, whatever. Because of the design of the play. That's a different story. But yes, not getting off the ball if it's going to be a run play. But when he talked about that, and just working with, like you said, Debo and Kyle Shanahan being a former receiver, absolutely huge on that. And it's one of those things where yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. Again, it's huge. And but yeah, so stoked for him. I mean, his time here, like you said, I mean, with the staff, with Herm, and like I said, seeing N'Keal Harry and then kind of taking over that top receiver role the next season along with Frank Darby. I mean, again, you see both of them in the opening to the to the show. But yeah, and I mean, it's awesome. Again, his road there, being a kid again from Nevada, and I like that. He said he wasn't going to do UNLV like that. So they may have recruited him a little bit, but he again went the JUCO route, became a Sun Devil, and then now with the Niners. But I do again go a little bit overtime. Want to talk? I want to hear you to hear from some of Kyle Shanahan too. Again, and cool. This thing's talking about Super Bowl. And again, in his pitchfork lunch, got Brandon Aiyuk in, and he coaches Brandon Aiyuk, and he said, that's his guy. So, but yeah, I mean, Kyle, playing former receiver, and he got asked about that. But cool memories of him obviously being around Super Bowl. And then after Kyle, we're going to hear from Christian McCaffrey too. So a little bit of overtime here on a Friday, but hey, that's all right. We love overtime. And but no, I mean, just again, look very, very obviously forward to that. But yeah, I want to hear from Kyle Shanahan and what he obviously as a coach, as an offensive coordinator, as a son of a coach, has been around Super Bowl teams and even the tie-in, and we'll hear from Christian McCaffrey too, because you think about it. I mean, the tie-in with McCaffrey, he has some pretty funny stories about being around his dad, Ed McCaffrey's teams, and the Super Bowl. But let's hear from 49ers head coach, a man who has drafted some Sun Devils, well, him and John Lynch. But yes, let's hear from Kyle Shanahan.
Went to the Niners and won it, and that's what was so cool, going back to Denver and then winning it that my senior year in high school versus Green Bay. I think the first time in 13 years that the AFC had won. So just going through that and knowing how your dad is, before him, after him, all that stuff, you get even though you don't realize you're learning it, but those are your life experiences. You got a very good idea of how it works, and I've been fortunate enough to be in a few of these of my own, and not much different than how they were and how I remember them growing up.
Hello, Coach. Victor Odier from Touchdown Mac2. Before the season, there was question about how injury could affect your team. And finally, you will arrive at the Super Bowl with a very healthy team. Did you change anything in the physical preparation this year compared to previous years?
You said with injuries? Yeah. We always tweak stuff. I mean, we got a group of guys who they look into the science and everything as well as anyone. I don't think there was anything drastic this year. We've been doing that pretty consistent for the last 5 years. But it's a week-to-week thing. Depends how your players feel after a Sunday game. It's what they tell me on Monday. It's what they tell me Wednesday before practice. Not every player is in the same situation too, so you adjust it for individuals, but not too much different.
Kyle, your offense has been the most copied in the league. Each year you continue to shrink the field. No team has run more condensed formations than the 49ers this year. At what point in your career did you start to realize the game would be played like in between the numbers and maybe even in between the hashes? And can you recall a play that made you think like, yeah, the game's going toward this way?
I just remember when I started and went to Tampa Bay as a quality control, and I was drawing everything in books and stuff, and everything was drawn out from wide splits, nothing was from tight splits. And then I always looked at everything when I first started through a receiver standpoint, just because that's what I played most of my life growing up. And it was so cool to watch how it helped people get open, how it looked one way out here, it looked totally different in here. Some people wouldn't even bump you back then. It was like they only could bump outside the numbers. You could get the bump off every time. You could get leverage with people, change stuff up. And I think it started that way, just from seeing how you could help people get open. And then you start to learn the run game, you start to learn how safeties fit, how leverage is different and things like that. And then it just evolves to a lot more.
Kyle, what are some of the challenges that play calling head coaches face in game management, and how have you evolved in handling both since you became a head coach?
I think since I became a head coach, I think offensive coaches, you're always thinking about the time and stuff. I mean, play callers, just being a coordinator, being able to call plays for the 9 years before becoming a head coach, I think gave me a lot of experience. You never call a play without having an idea of what's on the clock, the down and distance, the score, all of that stuff. So it's always in your mind every time you watch football, every time you do anything. And I do think, though, once becoming a head coach, it's you from game management and stuff. Always the clock issues are usually the same, but how to win the game becomes a little bit different. I think when you're calling plays and paying that stuff attention as a coordinator, it's more about how do you score, how do you get points, how do you outscore the other team, because you don't watch the other team's offense, you don't have a good feel of your defense, you're not watching the game as it goes, you're just getting ready for your series. And I think becoming a head coach, you realize how to call plays, how to use the time and stuff, not just to get points, but really just try to help you win the game.
Hey, Coach. In the Lions game and throughout the regular season, Brock would throw over his body over into the middle of the field. Do you ever get nervous when he does this, and do you ever tell him to stop?
Yeah, when he makes a bad decision doing it, I do. And if he did that a bunch, then it'd be something that we had to put a stop to. But usually when Brock goes across his body, I think he usually makes the right play. Quarterbacks do make that here and there. But if that's something you're just doing a bunch of mistakes, you got to end that pretty fast. You got to have a reason to go back there, not just hoping you're getting lucky.
Hey Kyle, you and several of the players have suffered through, heartbreaking losses like we've talked about over the years. How do you think those calluses that were developed helped in the last couple games with you making those second half comebacks?
Not much at all. I mean, had a lot of comebacks before those calluses too. I think just the more you coach football, the more you go through, the more you don't try to make any absolute answers or philosophies in anything. You understand there's so many variables, there's so many different situations, and it comes down to one game. So you don't just sit there and be like, man, I learned this last game, I'm not going to do that the next game. Well, that might be the right answer the next game. It might be the right answer the next quarter. I mean, everything you got to take into account. This isn't just a plus and minus game. You have to evaluate everything, and there's a flow with how those 22 people move in this situation, and that's stuff that's why you're never done. You're always continuing to work and continue to try to come up with whatever the decision is that gives you the best chance to win, but I promise you there's no consistent automatic answer.
Good afternoon, Coach. How do you manage your players' pressure, mainly those players who played 4 years ago against the Chiefs? Do you execute any special dynamics for these players?
The guys who played in the Super Bowl last? No, we're just getting ready for this game. I don't think last Super Bowl has anything to do with this game. Just like last week doesn't have anything to do with this game. What's good about guys who have been here before, especially the younger guys who came here, they can talk to the younger guys who are coming now and kind of tell them how they felt at that time and then how you feel after. I mean, it's a cool week. You get caught up in a lot of stuff, but I mean, you don't remember all this stuff. You remember the game. And people for the rest of their lives should remember that game if you won that game. And that's really all that matters. And you can say that, but it's cool when people have gone through that. So people tend to listen more. That is the truth. That's how it goes. And all this stuff's fun and neat, but you forget all this stuff. It all passes. What you remember is who won and lost that.
Hi, Coach. Over here. Hi, Kyle. Only two head coaches for this great franchise have had more wins than you in the Super Bowl era. You've had what many would consider great success in recent years with 4 NFC Championship game appearances in the last half decade. You have your own coaching tree. Do you think about your legacy to the NFL, and in particular this organization? And if you haven't, what would you like that legacy to be?
Sorry, I could never find you. I'm not trying to not look you in the eye, but I never thought about the word legacy. When I think of legacy, I think of my dad. I still, even though it doesn't look like that when I FaceTime anymore, but I still feel like I'm somewhat young. And like, it just doesn't really work that way with me. I don't think that works that way with a lot of people or just in it. You're just trying to win that game, and that game is always the next one. And we're in a game where this is the last one of the year, and these are the ones that count. So yeah, you understand that, you're aware of that, but that's stuff that you don't really have time to spend thinking about. It's nice, hopefully, when a game's over, you can sit back and think about that stuff and enjoy it, and that's what you usually do at the end of the year. You think about a lot of stuff, and you go through that. That's why we all need to get away a little bit usually when the season ends. That's why I'm very glad I don't have to go on a recruiting trail or anything like that. And whether it's good or bad, either way, you got to take about a month to do that. And when you come back, you get ready for that next year. When it's all said and done, then I guess people can talk about legacy.
A couple more. Kyle, to your right. And Coach, to piggyback off what you were saying about obviously the players, you could talk to the players that played in the game in 2019, but obviously the Super Bowl is an event, but having 2 weeks between it, when you're winning and going on consistency, would you rather have the game be 1 week after the championship games, or do you like the 2 weeks in between the games?
No, I couldn't imagine it being 1 week. I mean, just the pressure that's on everybody once you win that NFC championship, everyone, you don't realize how many family members you have till you have to count up Super Bowl tickets. And then you never realize that you had as many people like you until that Monday when you have 500 texts saying they've never been to a Super Bowl and can you hook them up? And then you realize that there's only so many people in that stadium and how hard it is. So that's the most stressful thing to me is watching players go through that who have no idea, and you have to say no to your uncle who was always with you. Well, they don't know how much that costs, and they don't know how much it gets. And I think that's the biggest thing, to have just a few days to set all that stuff aside, because that is important. It is a big deal to all these players, his families, and everyone who really cares about them. But the reality is, it isn't everybody's event. We'd love to make it, but you can't do that. And I think that's the biggest thing, those first 2 or 3 days that is stressful for guys and for you, your wife, whoever it is who's taking care of it. But when you can't get that down before you come here, and now you're here and now you kind of have a normal week besides all the media stuff.
Coach, George Kittle, Eric Armstead, they both back at practice this week after missing last week.
What's that again?
George Kittle and Eric Armstead, they both back in a normal practice routine.
Yeah, they were limited today. George and Eric were limited. They got out there, got some good work in, and hopefully they'll be full go tomorrow.
Kyle, a lot of your players have talked about how they approached mentally the 2019 Super Bowl and how it's different for them this year. Do you have the same experience? Do you feel like your emotional state this year is much different than 2019?
I don't think it's that much different. I mean, the beginning of the week, it's always fun and stuff to get out here and everything, but I mean, I've always been pretty well aware, even before I got into coaching, what the Super Bowl was, and you're so locked in and ready for that moment. I've learned it going to them before, but I do think the players, the biggest thing is for them to realize, because, I don't take as many pictures anymore. You don't film everything, thinking this is so special and stuff because you've never seen stuff like that. I think those are the things you start to realize, like, all that matters is that game. You're not going to come back and watch that stuff unless you win that game. And that's really, I think it gets clearer and clearer the more you go to them.
All right, guys. Purdy will be next.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Coach.
And you heard it right there. Kyle Shanahan again. And I didn't just play that to you so you could hear my question, but I've always asked coaches that, because when you're on your winning momentum, yes, the event that it is. And I know even last year asked, Andy Reid about that. And he's like, yeah, it became an event, and, a week of, NFL honors obviously happened last night, and, but just a week of events. NFLPA does stuff, and shout out to my guy, Ed Smith, went to the NFLPA event with him, and got to talk to again a few different former players, legends of the game, and it was pretty awesome. That was a great event on Wednesday night. So big fan of that. So again, big shout out again to Ed. But no, you heard Kyle Shanahan right there. You talk about it, and it's like the 2 weeks between the game, like, yeah, those first few days, back at, whether you win the NFC championship, they won it at home, but you win it at home, you win it on the road, just getting tickets that you've always heard coaches and players talk about. That is just a big thing. And like he said, you can't say yes to everybody. And what it just talked to me, you saw there was that Amazon Prime special, the Kelsey brothers. Last year, and it focused on, Jason, but what they spent alone on tickets. And they were saying, I heard too there that the like if you get like a VIP suite, it was like 2.5 million. And before, and we'll hear from Christian McCaffrey, but before Christian McCaffrey talks, somebody's saying, he's like, yeah, man, I can't like just do that. Like again, it fits a lot of people, but again, obviously that's why it's $2.5 million for the suite. So yes, for those that say the Super Bowl is not a corporate event, it's one of those things. But no, but yeah, what Coach Shanahan said there, the 2 weeks between that, and he's just, getting ready for the games and, the matchups. And, they was asked about the field was a thing early, it being too soft, and he kind of addressed that in the beginning. And, you're not going to sit there and dwell on it. You have to, make adjustments. He's like, yeah, you're not going to move and change your whole, schedule and, have to go earlier in the morning for, how they've always done things all year. Cause that's the thing you want to keep. Yes, you're not at home. Yes, you're getting ready for the Super Bowl, but keep your schedule regimented and the same that you did. I know a lot of the best coaches said it's paramount. The Chiefs do things early in the morning. Last year, again, when we, talked to them, they were an early in the morning media available outside of the NFL kickoff on Monday night, which same thing they did this year in Las Vegas. They're doing their stuff early in the morning. So yeah, that's That is very, very huge. And lastly, we are going to hear from another Pac-12 kid. Again, has some pretty cool memories. And that would be Christian McCaffrey. So without further ado, let's hear from the Stanford alum, former Carolina Panther. Yes, his dad, Ed McCaffrey, played for the Broncos, and we will hear about that. But and also his thoughts, obviously, on the Pac-12 being no more.
You might not get credit for it, but I think that's what makes talented teams special is the ability to come together and be selfish.
Christian. Now they have different weapons on the team, including Christian and what would you say in regards to, especially this team, is the different weapons you guys do have, the advantages you guys can take on
Yeah, I mean, I think when you just look in the huddle, it's exciting. You got pro bowlers and bringing all pro players all over the place, and that makes it exciting. And you got a great play caller, so it's a fun offense to be in because you never know what play is going to go. But some wise man once told me it's still the NFL and everyone's talented. So for us, it's just about execution. And I think taking care of the ball, executing, and when the play is there, then you have to.
What's the key to you success to run the ball when you feel like your team is losing and then you get that personal energy and you just take off the next thing
I think you don't really get bursts of energy. For me, it's always been one play at a time. Everything you can on that play. You're mindless, but you're focused, and you don't know which play is going to be the one to make a spark. And so I think it's just being prepared on every single play. Each play has a life of its own, and you have to live that full life, snap to whistle every time. Just talking about, I can talk about Bobby all day, because that's somebody who means the world to me. I think you ask the guys he's coaching, you look down the line of guys he's coached, it's no shock that everyone he's coached has had success, and you look at the success Juice has had since he's been here. You look at the success that I'm fortunate enough to be in that league that I've had since I've been here. I attribute so much of that to him. People think that anyone can just step in there and coach the running backs, and that's 100% not true. Bobby Turner has mastered it. He's one of the best coaches I think the NFL's ever seen. So to be able to be in his room is amazing because he brings the best out of every single one of his players. He's hard on us, but he loves on us, and it's an honor to be in that room. Oh man, favorite Bobby Theism? I like when he says, I ain't gonna write you a book. Because he'll sit there and, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. He's not gonna sit there and write you a book.
Christian, it seems like sometimes in the first half, defenses keep you under control, but at some point they crack. Do you physically then feel that you are gaining on them?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think each play has a life of its own, and each game has a life of its own. You never know how it's going to pan out. You could start up 21-0, and you feel great, and then all of a sudden it's the fourth quarter and it's 28-28. You could be down 14-0 or whatever it is and have to come back. And I think the biggest thing for us is not predicting anything, but being mentally and physically prepared for anything, so that whatever the game brings, you're ready to respond the correct way.
And Christian, you talked about obviously the blocking, and I know early in the season you mentioned Brandon's, running downfield for you. Do you feel that Brandon was trying to get the block for you, or was he just trying to beat you so he could beat you to the end zone even if you had a head start?
I don't know. Whatever he was thinking, though, was amazing, so I appreciate it.
When Jed York was talking about the decision to trade for you, he was saying that Kyle, had some reservations. Were we giving him too much? But he said him and John Lynch said no. And one of the reasons was we don't want him to. You want him to go to the Rams. So I'm just curious, when that was all happening, did you ever, think about what it would be like to play for the Rams or anything like that?
Yeah, I was trying to be, just completely blank in the head because I didn't want to predict this is where I'm going, this is where I'm going. It was such a hectic week, you know. I mean, I was still on the Panthers, just listening to these trade rumors. It's kind of a weird headspace to be in when you're preparing to go play. I was going to play Tampa, and I went to Wednesday practice, I went to Thursday practice, and I'm hearing all of the noises in the back of my head, but I'm trying to ignore them and prepare because you might not get traded. Who knows? From what I heard from our guys, I wasn't going to get traded, but I was still prepared. So it was just an awkward, weird mindset to be in when you're all in on a football team. And so wherever I went, I was just, it's in God's hands. Just don't try to force anything. Don't just let go and let God. And that's what I did. And fortunately enough, I'm in such an amazing situation.
So no like envisioning what it would be like to play in a McVay offense with Stafford and those guys?
I didn't envision anything. I'm telling you, I was just mindless, and I was like, whenever I get the call, my agent called me and said, go to Santa Fe. All right, let's go. Got on a plane Friday morning. This is like 11:30 at night. Got on a plane Friday morning. Landed with my physical, and I practiced Friday for the San Francisco 49ers and played Sunday, ironically, against the Chiefs.
Christian, what's a more exciting combination between Mike Tyson's 1-2 or the 1-2 between Juszczyk and Christian McCaffrey?
Man, as much as I love the 1-2 of me and Juice, I think Juice and I would both agree that there's nothing like a Mike Tyson 1-2. That's my background on my phone is Mike Tyson holding 2 belts. So
nice.
Yeah, we're both big Tyson.
Can you identify this former Valor teammate by chance?
Josh Grisman.
Whoa!
Man.
We didn't think you'd remember him. He works with us now.
Does he really?
Yes.
Tell him I said that.
He said he is the best product Valor's ever produced.
He's right. Look at those pads.
Look at him now. Did you see him now?
Oh, that's awesome. Good for him. Tell him I said hi.
I will.
Hey, Christian.
Just wondering if you feel like you're going into the Super Bowl a little bit as the underdog because the whole Swifties world is rooting for the other team.
No, I mean, I don't know who's the underdog in this game. I think everybody's just focused on doing their job and executing to the best possible ability you can.
Which do you think has had a bigger impact on engagement in the NFL this year? Taylor Swift or sports gambling presentation?
I don't know, but that's a deadly combination.
Hi, Christine.
Hi, I'm from NFL Canada, and I was wondering who on your team would be the best hockey players?
Who would be the best hockey? I'd be the best hockey player, for sure. I'm not very good on skates, but I'd figure it out.
What's your first memory in a Super Bowl?
First memory of this Super Bowl, or just probably watching my dad play back in, I was 2 years old, 1998. 3 years old in 1999, and they went back-to-back Super Bowls those 2 years. I have very, very, foggy memories of those days, obviously being that young. But I remember playing Power Rangers with Shannon Sharp and Rod Smith and all those guys in the locker room, and me and my brothers would steal the Tiger bars from the equipment room and all the bubble gum. And the EQ guys are amazing. And the training room guys, we used to see like how long we could stick our head in the cold tub. Dad was probably looking for us, but those are the kind of the memories that I have of just being in the locker room.
You're thinking about video games all the time. Not sure if you're a gamer, but if you could choose that one when it comes to football, Madden, NCAA, NFL Street, or NFL Blitz, which one would you choose?
I'm a big NCAA fan. I was so mad that when I was in college they didn't have the game because I felt like that would have been so cool. Me and my brothers used to play. We play NCAA all the time, so that's probably my favorite game. Although we also love the old school NFL Streets. Those were amazing. So NFL Street, NCAA, those two.
Christian, speaking of the NCAA, I mean, obviously, getting traded back to San Francisco, being in the Bay Area, but now no more Pac-12. I mean, after this year, what were your initial thoughts when you saw it, and were you in a little bit of shock?
Those the new Apple things? Sorry, that freaked me out. I was bummed out, man. I think, the Pac-12 has been around for over 100 years, and to just stop that to me was really sad. I mean, you look at the iconic programs that have played in the Pac-12 for the last century, it's sad to see it go. But, nothing lasts forever, I guess.
Hey, Christian.
So,
Personally speaking, I think you're the MVP of the regular season. So you know that you're going to be the main focus of the Chiefs defense, personally speaking. So how do you handle that pressure? Well, I don't know that. And I think for me, I just trust the coaches, there's so many players around me that are unbelievable. So one of the beauties is whenever there's two guys on me, usually that means someone has a one-on-one and someone's open. So, and that goes for anyone. I mean, I love when you got to, Debo's somebody you got to pay attention to. Brandon Aiyuk somebody you got to pay attention to. So whenever those guys are doubled, hopefully it opens something up for me. And you just never know how the game's going to go. You never know what play will be the play.
Well, you heard it right there, Christian McCaffrey again, and you don't know how the game's going to go, and I like that. But yeah, right after my question, there was remember the meeting that had the Apple, like the I want to say like VR, but the glass, like you can like literally like touch everything, and he goes, man, that freaked me out. I thought he was going to start talking to him, but no, it is a bummer about the Pac-12. But that's awesome memories. That's why I wanted to play that with McCaffrey because. Like I said, being in the locker room, with playing Power Rangers with, Shannon Sharp and Rod Smith and, taking the Tiger bars of bubble gum, putting your, see how long you can put your head in the cold water tub for. So, yeah, I mean, destined for a Super Bowl in football life. But that was, but yeah, talking to McCaffrey, obviously Brandon Aiyuk forks up, man, all day. Seeing what Kyle Shanahan wants to say. So, yes, a little abridged version of pitchfork lunch, but I will wrap it with this. Yes, men's hoops had the tough loss last night to Colorado on the road. Colorado, they're still undefeated at home. Yes, they are still undefeated at home. And Utah is not undefeated anymore at home because Arizona beat them. But it was 82-70. That they fell to Colorado. Colorado again got some separation hoops the last like 2.5 minutes, and that was the tough part. But when you look at now they fall to 11-12 overall, lost 5 in a row, 5-7 in conference, 2-5 on the road. And again, last year they were just road warriors that struggled at home. Now again they've dropped 2 in a row at home, but overall 8-3 at home. But in this game, I mean, it was 44-35 at half, and people were like, well, I mean, they were, Colorado's up by 9. Again, it was 19-1 at one point. Then it was 39-33. So ASU had outscored them 32-20. And then Colorado before the half outscored them 5-2. But again, 44-35. And then Colorado, I mean, ASU scored 35 in both halves. I mean, 70 points. But Colorado, again, 44 in the first half. Again, a little much, but 38 in the second half. And there's your 12-point victory. But Frankie Collins, again, led the Devils with 18 points, had 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal. Not multiple, just 1 steal. I know we've been very spoiled with Frankie Collins in the steal department this year. And then Adam Miller, he had 14 points, 1 rebound. Did Adam Miller. And then Jemiah Neal had 12 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, and 3 steals. And then Sean Phillips Jr., 10 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 steal. Jose Perez, I mean, he did play 30 minutes, 1 for 9 from the field. Just struggling the last 2 games is Perez. But 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 block, and 1 steal. So, again, putting it on the defensive end. But, yeah, that stuff. From the free throw line, they were 9 for 14, which is 64%. Again, 14 attempts. Colorado had 29 attempts. They were 26 for 29, 89.7%. So again, if they're fouls, they're fouls. I just think that it gets very frustrating for Sun Devil Nation as to how games are officiated. But yeah, when you look at what Colorado did, like I said, they had 4 guys in double figures as well. Javon Hadley had 19 points. KJ Simpson back 17 points. Tristan Da Silva 15. Cody Williams 11. But yeah, Javon Hadley with 19 points. He had 11 rebounds, 19 points, 11 boards, 1 assist, and 2 steals. And then KJ Simpson, like I said, 17 points, 6 boards, 8 assists for him. And then Da Silva had 15 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 steal. And then Cody Williams, 11 points, 3 boards, 3 assists, 1 block, and 1 steal for Cody Williams. So for a team that shot, 24 for 51 from the field, that's 47.1%. They were 40% from 3, 8 for 20. And then, like I said, 89.7% from the free throw line. The Devils, points in the paint, they outscored Colorado 40-20. Points off turnovers, Colorado had that advantage 17-12. Second chance points, Colorado 10 to ASU's 4. Fast break points, ASU's 22 to Colorado's 12. Bench points, 12-10. Slight nod there to Colorado. But yeah, I mean, look, it's the spurts of the game. So yes, you got down 19-1, then you outscored them 32-20, but you're still down by 6, and then they outscore you 5-2 to finish out the first half. So, but look, Frankie Collins, Sean Phillips Jr. again played 17 minutes, and he only had 2 fouls. Collins, he committed some fouls late to try and gain extra possessions. You can put him at the free throw line. Playing the hopefully you miss game, we get some hoops game. But yeah, Frankie Collins had 4, and then Alonzo Gaffney had 4. Gaffney had 6.6 boards, 2 assists, 1 block, 1 steal. So again, defensively, again, it's not that effort's there. And getting off your social, and it's not that they were, in the first half of that start, 5 guys playing separately. The coach talked about they weren't, but it's just a slow start or a lull in the game where another team just gets too much. And even though you have the fight and they've shown it, Coach Hurley's had them show it, you battle back, you just can't get it going. So that is the frustrating part. All right, before we get out of here, just want to remind everybody that yes, women's hoops is in California. Well, men's hoops again. So tomorrow they are on. They take on Utah in Salt Lake City at 6 p.m. and that's going to be on ESPN2. So that's what men's hoops has. As for women's hoops, they are taking on, I want to say UCLA tonight because they're in LA. And yes, they are in LA. 10-12 overall for Lady Devils. 6-6 at home, 1-5 away. Again, coming off that tough matchup against that team down south in Tucson. But yeah, they have SC tonight. My apologies. They have SC tonight, 8:00, and that's on Pac-12 LA. You can check it out. Also, you can hear Jeff Munn's call on AM 1060. So they have USC tonight at 8. Then they have UCLA Sunday at 1 p.m. They are taking on the Bruins. And just in case you were wondering, both of these teams are ranked in the top 25, USC and UCLA. USC tonight, they are number 10. UCLA is number 9. The rankings came out. So check out these new rankings. Colorado is number 4 in the country. Stanford is number 6. UCLA is number 9. USC is number 10. Oregon State is number 17. And Utah is number 20. So, yes. half of the conference ranked in the top 25. So ASU is taking on number 9 and number 10 this weekend on the women's side. Hey, ladies, go out and get it. Keep that fight. We know, Coach, they have the fight. Again, gotta clean up the turnovers from last game. We know they watch film. We know coaches definitely address that with the players. Again, being sloppy with the ball, going to protect ball security. I mean, don't get, where you're picking up your dribble too early, but at the same time, ball security, awareness. Because you have turnovers again like that against these two teams, and it'll be very tough to win, let alone if you're down, come back. But they got it in them, man. You beat 2 top 10 teams. Let's go. Let's get one tonight in USC, like which I said is at 8 p.m. Local time, and then Sunday at 11. Also, ice hockey. Don't forget tonight at Mullet Arena. The Devils are in. They're number 18 in the country. And it's an independent. They're both independents, but they are, like I said, number 18 in the country, which, again, absolutely huge and awesome. 18-6-6 overall, Sun Devil Nation. You know this. 15-5-4 at home, 3-1-2 away. But, yeah, 18-6-6 overall as they get set to take on Alaska Fairbanks. And they have a back-to-back with Alaska Fairbanks. But it's today and tomorrow. So 7 p.m. tonight. TV, Pac-12 Insider, and then radio. It'll be on 910, Fox Sports 910, locally here. Tonight at 7, and then tomorrow is at 5 p.m. Same thing, Pac-12 Insider and Fox Sports 910. And that's at 5 p.m. Both at Mullet Arena. Get on out there. Let's go, Sun Devil Nation. Get on out there and check them out. Also, Sun Devil softball. And Kajikawa Classic, a man who coached many sports at the in Sun Devil country. Okay. Oh, because of the weather. Yes. So they were supposed to play Wisconsin, and it got postponed. But right now, Northwestern is took on Boise State, and Boise State won that game 4-3. And then just about to get underway, Boise State is going to take on St. Thomas from Minnesota. And then at 4 p.m. today, ASU is taking on Northwestern. All this is at Farrington Softball Stadium, Club Farrington, as we know it in Sun Devil country. So, yes, that is today, 4 and 6:30. And then Saturday, Wisconsin will take on Boise State at 10:30. And then Maine will take on Wisconsin at 1:15. And then at 4 p.m. tomorrow, Boise State will be taking on ASU. And then at 6:30, ASU will be taking on Maine. Yeah. So again, a lot of softball. You can go to sundevils.com and check that out. But yes, a lot of softball coming up. So you see the Devils play today at 4 and 6:30, and then tomorrow at 4 and 6:30 again. So yes, you can check them out, and look forward again to seeing this team this year, because they, like I said, have a little bit to build on from last year. And, obviously it's Coach Bartlett's first year, as a head coach here, not first year coaching, obviously. Very, very good coach. So yeah, we'll see what happens, but that is what's going on this whole weekend. So you have a lot to check out. Again, I'm going to get out of here. Again, thanks for staying with me for quite a bit of overtime, but nonetheless, I'm out of here. Same bat time, same bat channel on Monday after the Super Bowl. By the way, I'm going Niners. I picked the Niners earlier in the week on the Sports Arena. 37-31 over the Chiefs. Yes, I think there will be, after the first quarter, there will be some points scored. I just think the Niners offense, the Chiefs defense is good, but like I said, you can't double everybody, and somebody will find their way open. I love, obviously, what Mahomes has done as a quarterback, what he is. You can see it. I don't think Kelsey's going to have 11 targets and 11 catches. I just don't see that one. So nonetheless, I'm going to bounce. Everybody have a phenomenal weekend, whether you're enjoying the Waste Management Phoenix Open. On Monday, I will be joined by a former Sun Devil who is actually working with the Golf Channel and NBC, former Sun Devil. So, of course, want to get her in on Pitchfork Lunch. So looking forward to that. And, yeah, going from there. So if you're enjoying the Waste Management, enjoy the Super Bowl on Sunday. You have Sun Devil Sports to enjoy all in between that, Pitchfork Luncher. So get on out there and do it. Again, I will see you Monday, same bat time, same bat channel, Niners 37-31. Aiyuk forks up. Aiyuk is going to be getting fitted for a Super Bowl ring after that. So, again, very, very stoked for the game. So, everybody enjoy your weekend. Hit me up on Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. And, guys, subscribe to the channel, my YouTube channel. It's at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005, at MVC005 on YouTube. Subscribe. All right, I am out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend, and we will go from there. And yes, don't worry, Pitchfork Lunchers. I didn't forget. You know it. As always, not just on to victory, but as always, forks up.
Johnny Walker matching up against control. His shot. They score. They tie the game up 2-2. He drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Taya Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse. Wow. 5 seconds to go. Find Hawk. Hawk spins. It rolls off. And Arizona State wins it. Edwards pulls off. And buries the puck. Takes the shot.